see some of the responses, and I guess, and I know you've been getting reader mail, and people come and speak to you after, like, who seems uncomfortable with the idea that you're perfectly fine not being married or perfectly fine not having children? Like what, who are you seeing patterns emerge about that?
Yeah. So right before the book published, I wrote a New York Times story about how no one believed I was happy. I'd had an interaction over dinner with an older gentleman who was a well-known writer from a previous generation, and I was at this small dinner, and it was all lovely, and I was about to sell this book, and I thought, oh, what an opportunity to, you know, tell this person I admire about this book I'm working on and maybe get some advice. And so I outlined the book for him, and he turned to me, plunked his martini glass down, and he said, "Glynnis Macnicol, you have a terrible life." And I said, I mean, all evidence to the contrary. We're sitting here, I was drinking champagne in a dress in Manhattan on a Thursday night, and I said, no, I'm okay, I'm doing fine. You know, he goes, no, you're all alone. You're all alone, it must be awful. And then he insisted that the server wrap up his steak, his very expensive steak that he hadn't touched, and then I take it home as leftovers for myself, which I did because it was delicious. I ate it for breakfast the next morning. Which the kicker of that story was I was having my steak and eating it too. Like, I was like, please give me all your steaks. I'm so sad. Interestingly, I will say, the thing about him is I knew he was being kind. Like, he really couldn't conceive of my life as being anything but a tragedy. What's interesting is that, and I hesitate to paint like such broad strokes because it's not fair to anyone, but in my experience, the people who have the most trouble with my life are women, like 10 to 15 years older than me. No one my age second guesses any of this. No one younger than me. I think that I'm almost a relief sometimes to women younger that there's some other version, but women 10 to 15 years older seem to really struggle to believe that I'm not going to change my mind. Like, don't worry, there's still time. Or, you know what, 10 years from now you're going to change your mind. And some women told a friend of mine, I'd like scurry to the sperm bank and have it delivered to my front door because there was no way I could possibly be okay with this. And the reading the other night, I said all of that, and then at the end a woman stood up and said, but don't you think in like 10 years you could really see how you'd be more fulfilled with children in your life? No.
And also, you made the salient point that you have plenty of children in your life.
Yeah, the book hasn't been out for so long, but she seemed to think that, and I really struggle against this narrative too. I really think we diminish so many relationships that we all have by not acknowledging them, which is my life is filled with children in a really important, rich ways, including Rachel's daughter, Ruby, who likes to run around with my book over her head and say, Auntie Glynnis is in this book. And I just think like we diminish the importance of the role that I play in their lives and they play in my lives, especially as we move into like an era where women are having children later and we don't depend on our family structures the way we do. Like, I am part of a very integral infrastructure for many of my friends, and so few things frustrate me anymore. I rarely get offended by stuff, but the idea that I don't want to have children means that I don't love children is one of the things that still bothers me, and that woman probably got the brunt of it a little bit.
No, you were great. She was one of those people who like put up their hand to ask a question and then kept going and kept challenging her even after she said very kindly that she was done with this. But I